Welcome to Access Zen with Gregory Foster. Our program will help you set a more perfect balance between your inner world and the outside world. And now, here's your host, Gregory Foster.
And good morning, everyone. How's the week going? Another new week? Can you believe it? Hey, so we have just an incredible show today. This will be our first musical show. The episode is titled Soul-Centered Rockstar and the Revolution of Good News. We're going to feature the musical talents of Ed the Word as he plays some cuts off his groundbreaking debut, Birth of the Divine Child, and share some of his inspirational life story. Then we're going to have Craig Renwick on from 20th Century Fox, and he's going to share some insights on his amazing Thought and Word for the Day blog. So I'm Gregory Foster, and you're listening to Access Zen, and we're going to go ahead, everyone, and we're just going to kick it off. Give a warm welcome to Ed the Word.
The day might bring. Everybody got a song to sing. Now it's time to get up, get up, get up. Time to get up and sing my song. No way I can sing that wrong. I hope maybe you sing along. Now it's time to get up, get up, get up. Time to get up and do my thing. No telling what the day might bring. Everybody got a song to sing. Now it's time to get up, get up, get up. It ain't always easy to find your way. It ain't always easy find your way. Where you find it, nothing left to say. Time to get up and do my thing. No telling what the day might bring. Everybody got a song to sing. Now it's time to get up, get up, get up. Time to get up and sing my song. There's no way I can sing that wrong. I hope maybe you sing along. It's time to get up, get up, get up. Time to get up and do my thing. No telling what the day might bring. Everybody got a song to sing. It's time to get up, get up, get up. Time to get up and sing my song. There's no way I can sing that wrong. I hope maybe you sing along. It's time to get up, get up, get up. It's time to get up and do my thing. There's no telling what the day might bring. Everybody got a song to sing. It's time to get up, get up, get up. Time to get up and sing my song. There's no way I can sing that wrong. I hope maybe you sing along. It's time to get up, get up, get up.
Wow. Thank you, Ed. That was just sensational.
Thank you, Greg. It's a pleasure to be here.
It is a pleasure, my friend. So just for all the listeners out there, I had the wonderful pleasure of meeting Ed for the first time last weekend up at the Prison Project up in Chowchilla, California. And Ed and I were the sound guys to make the music happen. So I thought I'd bring some of that on to the listeners. So how's it going this morning, Ed?
Man, it's going really well. I'm really excited about being on the show and reconnecting in that energy that we started up in the prison there, man. I never thought I would say that, but we just had a genuinely great time, and the music, my appreciation for music out of that trip really went through the roof.
Yeah, so just give our listeners a little background on that. So we do this, seminar at the prisons with the ladies, and so during the breaks, during the lunch, we pipe in tunes, and some of the feedback that we got from some of the music that we were playing in past sessions was, hey, could you crank it up a little bit? Because we were playing some pretty mellow stuff, Barbra Streisand, and putting the poor ladies asleep. So we just cranked up the jams, and they said, Greg and Ed come up with a playlist, and we came up with it like just before the thing started. So we had a lot of fun, and it was good times up there for sure.
Yes, definitely.
So Ed, that was just an incredible song, and I've been listening to that. I just love that "Get Up" song. We played that at the project as well, and tell us about the song, and I like you to share with the listeners your story and how you got here and your musical background and all that good stuff.
I actually was standing in the shower thinking of singing a song to myself, basically to help me to wake up in the morning, and more and more through as I've evolved as a songwriter, I've just found that saying something that is something like pretty direct that feels good for me to hear and feels good for other people to hear to sort of help people through the day. To me, that is the definition of soul music. So yeah, I was standing in the shower singing that, came up with that little melody, recorded it on my little cell phone for later, and then it finally just came up with the music for it. And as I find that as I've grown as a songwriter, more and more, it's the simplest little things that just pop in my head sometimes at the most random times that can turn into the most amazing songs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. So,
well, I've never been myself blessed with being able to play and sing, so I just really appreciate when I hear someone that's got some great talent like yourself. So I just want to acknowledge you for that.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. It feels good to be acknowledged and also to stand in that, and really bring something that I love to do to people who who enjoy hearing it, and it's just a beautiful thing all the way around. And yeah.
That's wonderful. So share with us a little bit of your journey. How did you get to this place? How did you get to be in what we'll call a rock star, a soul-centered rock star? Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got here.
Okay, beautiful. I always loved music. Like my father was really into doo-wop, Elvis, and my mom loved Barry Manilow when I was younger. So Barry Manilow was actually one of the first. There's this little blue tape that we were listening to on our way to Las Vegas, and it was like the first time I remember saying, man, this is my favorite tape. I must have been like 7 years old, and I think I still have that tape somewhere. But, I've always listened to a really eclectic, I was making a list the other day. I was thinking Barry Manilow, Stevie Wonder, Metallica, Eric B. and Rakim, ZZ Top, Jimi Hendrix, Elvis, Leonard Skinner, Michael Jackson, Bob Marley, Ani DeFranco, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Ben Harper. I mean, the list, Mason Jennings. The list just goes on and it's always growing. And it's, I've always been the type of person that's been kind of connect. I'll get hooked on like a song or one particular album. I don't necessarily have all the albums of every artist, but I love a great song and I love a great album, and it's been that way since I was, for as far as I can remember, and. When I was younger, I also I got into tap dancing, break dancing. You put together a love for music and a love for kind of cutting up with people and being in front of groups like that and getting people to think differently. And then you have the origins of a soul-centered rock star.
Well, that's amazing. I love that. Barry Manilow to Metallica. So basically, I write the songs to all their great music. I love that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's kind of the way I roll, man. I think one thing I have a knack for is combining things that don't necessarily seem to necessarily connect, but creating that connection through the expression, how they come through, how they blend in my soul, and how that comes through in my music, and also in just my views on life,
Yeah, and I will tell you, having listened to several of the tracks off of your, and this is your debut album, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Birth of the Divine Child. That is just such a cool album title, I got to tell you.
Oh, thank you.
But I really hear that soul to rock, eclectic. It's hard to like categorize your music, but there's definitely a soul to it, brother. I got to tell you.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you.
It's beautiful stuff. So tell us about your inspiring story. What inspired you to write this particular record, and tell us a little bit about the themes. And then for our listeners, we're going to go to a short break, and we've got our next guest coming on, and then Ed's going to come back and crank some tunes for us. Beautiful.
Yeah, this album was born out of my second year at the program, the University of Santa Monica, as a second-year project. That's where the title Soul-Centered Rockstar came from. And the title of the album, Birth of the Divine Child, was born when I was speaking actually with one of the faculty who was reading from, who was monitoring my project and how it was going. And we were talking something about, I think I used the phrase inner child. And she said, well, here we don't use the phrase we don't like to use the phrase inner child. We like to use the phrase divine child. And right then I was like, Birth of the Divine Child, because that was sort of my, the theme for my year was birthing that divine child within me and really connecting with that divine child and trusting that divine child and playing with that divine child more in my life. And so that's sort of the origin of the title and where Soul-Centered Rockstar came from. And it was an incredible journey about... It's funny, I tell people there's 3 themes on the album: being authentic with my experiences, living life on purpose, and getting paid to do it. And it's that kind of speaks to like some of the themes that were coming up for me in my life around money, around just being authentic with people, and also just aligning myself with the purpose that is in my heart and in my soul for this time around.
Living authentic, finding your purpose, and getting paid. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where some of the hip-hop comes into my hip-hop background, too, and then the getting paid part.
I love it. Ed, this is a good morning, and we're going to go to a break here in about 30 seconds. I'm Gregory Foster. You're listening to Access Zen, and I've got Ed the Word, and we're going to come back with Craig Renwick.
And now, let's return to Access Zen.
And good morning, and we're back. So how about that as a way to kick off our show with Ed the Word? And now we've got something that I think you're really going to love, something extremely inspirational that has certainly inspired me and I know a whole ton of my friends. So on this segment, we're going to kind of talk about how do we inspire ourselves as we go through our work day, as you're going to school in the morning. It is really nice to be able to open up your computer and see an email there that has just something really wonderful and really insightful. And so this morning I want to introduce you to a wonderful person by the name of Craig Renwick, and he works as an executive at 20th Century Fox. He's going to come on here and tell us his story and also about his amazing Vicara Thought and Word for the Day, the email blog. And we're going to learn a whole lot more about that. So I'll tell you a quick story before I bring Craig on. So one of my good friends sent me an email and said, Greg, let's read this. And I read it, and I was just blown away by the inspiration. And I immediately wanted to get to know Craig and meet him. And as I accepted his blog, and now I get regular emails from his Thought and Word for the Day. And they are really inspiring. Craig's going to come on here, and he's going to read a few of these, and we're going to kind of talk about them. And he's also going to give us his incredible background. So please put your hands together for Craig Renwick. Good morning, Craig. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Good morning to you.
How is your week going?
Oh, it's been kind of crazy, up and down, spinning around like a top. But you know what? As long as I have this morning time to center myself to get ready for the day, it all seems to level itself out eventually.
Yes, and of course the things that happen in our everyday life, those are events that we need to be grounded for, and it sounds like you have a wonderful practice to make that.
I think it's essential, at least for me anyways. I know everybody has a different path,
yes.
they travel, but this one seems to work for me.
That's awesome. So I know that you start every morning with a meditation. Is that right?
That's right, yeah. It's usually the alarm wakes me up around about 5 o'clock and get myself situated in my little sitting room, which is really nothing more than basically the laundry room upstairs. But it's sort of, it's a little place for me, and I have my readings, my books, and tons of these little books that I write these thoughts in. And it's a basic meditation. We're breathing and using my little mantra thing that I've had over a number of years now, and it's just basically allowing the energies in the morning just to basically open itself up, and I feel like sometimes like a satellite dish, just sitting there waiting, and I'm trying to understand a few things before I start my day off.
That's beautiful. How long is your meditation?
It varies. Generally, it's a good half an hour. There are days where it's a little short, but I try to at least get 15-20 minutes in there, just enough to get things rolling.
That's really exceptional, and I commend you for that. My meditation practice is not as disciplined as that, Craig. I want to confess. I probably do 3 to 4 times a week. At about that same period of time, I do some guided CD meditations. Mm-hmm. And, for our listeners out there, the benefits of going into meditation to start off your day, I just can't, share that enough with you, because it just helps get you grounded and focused for whatever you're going to deal with at school or driving to work or, any of the things that tend to come up in our lives. Am I right, Craig?
Oh, there's so much that we have to contend with. I know people listening are in different parts of the country, and their commute or their lifestyle may be slightly different from this wacky world out here on the West Coast in L.A. But we still all have to contend with energies of trying to deal with people, with traffic, with a work situation, a problem, and my meditation or any meditation that you employ, I think is very beneficial in sort of getting yourself together for the day and sort of calming things out so you can approach the world a little more efficiently and a little more calmly.
That's so true. So listeners, on with Craig Renwick. So Craig, tell us a little bit more about your background, and then I'd like you to share a reading, the one that kind of kicked off this show, a new revolution. Start a revolution, Craig says, a revolution of good news to share with everyone every day. We're going to talk about that.
Okay. How did I get to this spot? I was born up in Canada, had a huge family, and I think what was beneficial for at least my spiritual growth is that I was never brought down only one hallway. There was all these different options, and my mother was an incredible saint. She just, whatever I wanted to journey down, she was totally accepting, and, if I was wanting to investigate, this particular area, she was very supportive, and she says, as long as basically for her was, as long as you're happy. That was the basic thing for her, and I've tried to instill that with my kids here as well, so. And I came out here, about 20 years ago, and, obviously coming out to this particular part of the country from Canada is a little bit different than where I grew up. So it's a little bit of adjustment, and there was a lot of ups and downs. But, eventually having my meditation practice and continuing on the spiritual path, I was able to sort of find my way a lot of the time, so.
No question, and I know that has led you to a very successful career where you're at there at Fox, so I want to commend you for that, and obviously you bring this into to your everyday life, am I right?
That's right, yeah. It's, the business world can be a little crazy, and of course we all see those movies and television shows where it's cutthroat, and it's true that's out there. But if you approach your work life with integrity and honesty and maintain that, then there's only a lot of benefits will come eventually, because people who are going to be manipulative and distrustful, it's all going to fall to the wayside, and those who maintain integrity will always rise above anybody.
Amen. So, Craig, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to give the listeners a taste of one of your sayings, and maybe we'll get to a second one too. And then at the end of the show, we'll definitely give everyone your address, and of course it'll be on the website and everything else. But go ahead, please share with us.
This one's called A New Revolution. This was a recent one. This one goes like this. There was a time not so long ago that TV stations did not start to broadcast programs, including the news, until sometime 7 a.m. Now in this 24-hour televised world, every station is fighting to be the first to report the bad news. It has become obsessive for all of them to ensure that we all know how bad the world is every minute of the day. Yes, we all know from the Buddhist canon that the Four Noble Truths tell us that life is suffering. But I'm sure many of you out there know that life has many good points. It's not only doom and gloom like those televised talking heads want you to believe. We need to start a revolution of good news. I know it's out there. We may have witnessed it ourselves. The moments of selflessness, simple acts of kindness and gestures of good that have made a difference. We need to turn that adage, bad news sells, to good news inspires. What if there was a dedicated segment of the news where our local anchor people run down simple stories of compassion and goodness? I'm sure that somewhere there is evidence that bad acts inspire other bad acts. We assume that will always be there. But what if we try to tip the balance and show clear evidence of good acts to inspire other good acts? Now that would be a wonderful revolution.
Good news inspires. Yes, when I read that, and clearly that was going on when the news broke about what happened in Japan, the earthquake, tsunami, and now the nuclear crisis that continues. Mm-hmm. And I remember you and I talking about that, and you were really quick to point out that, they're focusing on a lot of and I saw the same thing myself. Every day it was like a disaster, and that's real. We don't want to deny that, of course.
No.
But there were some really great things happening over there, even while that was happening, how the people were dealing with each other, right?
Oh, it was amazing. I saw that one story. Of course, it was so quick that I don't think many people saw it. But in a number of the areas that were affected by the tsunami and the earthquake, the people were not pillaging. They were not trying to break windows and do crazy crap out there. They were all pulling together and helping each other. If he didn't have electricity or he didn't have food or water or whatever, everybody was sharing and coming together as a community. It was an amazing thing to see. And I'm not sure. I'm sure we have that here. But it's so good to recognize it, and I think it should have been more recognized on the broadcast and spread around.
Yeah, and I think that's true for a lot of things that happen is, good news inspires folks. Bad news kind of takes us to a place of fear. And, we don't want to deny things that are happening because like I just said, they're real events. We need to definitely cover those. Right. But within every real event, there are something, we're all on this journey together. There are things that are happening that are positive, and we just want to make sure we bring those out. Am I right?
Yeah, there's some people that will tend to drift into that Pollyanna kind of attitude or outlook, but I'm a realist. I understand that there's bad out there, and I understand that there's also there's a lot of good out there as well. And as I spoke with, there was a newscaster, local newscaster, Christine Devine on Fox 11, and her and I were speaking about, there's so much of the bad news. She said, we're trying to get the good news out there, but obviously, when people turn on the news, they're captivated by a tragedy. Mm-hmm. And I think it just paints the wrong picture for a lot of people, or at least let's bring in some balance. Just bring in some good news. is I know that there are people, when you see an inspirational TV show or inspirational movie or some kind of news factor, when something good happens, people go, oh yeah, well, we can do something like that, and pull ourselves together and work as a community. It's not that hard. It's very simple. Very simple acts will do very simple things, will grow into big things.
That is beautiful. And I just want to say again that so what he just read for you, and I'm going to ask you to read another one, so I'll give you a second to collect your thoughts, because I want to stay on this energy that we have here. And then we're going to go to a break. Ed's going to come back. We're going to play another song, and then Ed and Craig are going to be on together. So, but I just want to emphasize that if you sign up, and just real quickly so the folks can write it down, how do they get your blog?
Oh, gee, I'll read the address. I can never remember all of these because I have so many of the little blog things. The blog address is http:// and it's my name, Craig, Craig, Renwick, RENWICK. It's all one word there. .blogspot.com. It's easy. That's all it is. And,
awesome.
When you go there, there's a little a spot up in the top left-hand corner. If you want to subscribe, it's free. And it'll come to you every morning when I get up and push the buttons and away send it out to the world.
That is awesome, and we'll definitely mention that again to you. Why don't you go ahead and read another one, and then we'll let that kind of simmer. We'll go to a break. We'll come back, talk to it briefly, and then Ed's going to play another song.
Oh, okay. Let's see. This was a recent one that I liked myself and a friend of mine in Wisconsin liked. It's called "It's Your Book," and it goes like this. We trip over our insecurities and receive bruises from remarks from others, but we survive. We will stutter from heartbreak and bump into hard truths, but we survive. We may not see our limitations until it's too late, but we manage to survive. These encounters are just pages turning into chapters, turning into bound experiences that create the library of our unique lives. Some of the pages may seem to be a bit ragged and tattered, but we should not tear them out and throw them away. They are as important as the front and back covers and complete the story. Today starts a new chapter with fresh new pages that has just been given to you. It's up to you to illustrate them with as much candor and compassion as you can muster. Oh, and by the way, it's okay to color outside the lines. It's your book.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Thanks.
I'm Gregory Foster. You're listening to Access Zen, and we'll be back in just a moment.
You are tuned in to Access Zen with Gregory Foster. And now, let's return to Access Zen.
And we're back, and I'm Gregory Foster, your host, and you're listening to Access Zen. And live with us today, we have both Craig Renwick and we have Ed the Word. Ed's going to be singing here in just a second. Before we do that, before we went to the break, Craig, you read us a really profound little truth there. You want to share your inspiration behind that one?
Oh, I think it really came from, I was sitting here thinking about a lot of people that have some troubles, and they sort of throw away certain things in their lives or experiences. They just go, it's not important. But every moment is important because it gathers up and helps support what you do in your day, in your work day, in your personal life, and you just don't want to throw away things because all those are very important. It builds who you are, and it's beautiful. So
hard truth, but we survive. I love that.
Yeah. And we bump and we stutter and we trip and but that's all part of it.
It is all part of it. Life is not about perfection, it's about the journey.
No, yeah, that's what it is.
So our listeners, you can get all of these, and when you go to his blog spot, and I'll just read it again so everybody has that out loud. It's craigrenwick.blogspot.com. When you go there, it gives you several options. You can get it as a Facebook. You can get it as email alerts, and it comes, directly there. There's also a nice archive of everything he's done in the past. And then one other thing I wanted to mention is that Craig is also an incredible photographer. So I know you can't see this, but when you get his blog spot, it comes with beautiful photography. Is that right?
Yeah, I've been a professional photographer for a number of years, and something that's a passion for me since I was in high school, and since I was photographing Peter Gabriel's first solo tour, and I've done so many other musicians, and just finished a digital tour book thing for Rush, and it's something I love doing, but unfortunately I've gone from my wet darkroom to a digital darkroom, but it's still something I love doing, and every thought of the day has one of the images that I've taken over the years, and it's just I love doing it.
That's wonderful, and that's something I didn't realize growing up with Peter Gabriel and Rush. Those were always playing in my CD player, so those are two fantastic artists. That must have been quite a thrill to shoot those guys, huh?
It was amazing. I was sent out to photograph Peter Gabriel and write the review for the first solo tour, and it happened to be the first night of the first solo tour in Toronto, and I had to borrow a camera from my cousin. It was this old Russian beat-up camera, and I gathered some lenses together, and I shot it, and I still have them. They're on my photo site as well, the first show. And, of course, Peter only had one album at that point. And
back in the early days.
It was nothing. It was just one album, and him in a tracksuit and long hair, and completely different, of course, from what he is doing today. So
that was the Salisbury Hill era, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Peter Gabriel of Genesis, and then also Rush.
Mm-hmm.
So you're listening to Gregory Foster. We've got Craig Renwick, and Craig, please stay on with us. We want to continue this dialogue. Your blog is very inspiring to a lot of folks, and I want to give everyone a chance, to be able to download your stuff and get the morning started off right, folks.
Yeah.
Get Craig's blog spot.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to hearing Ed.
Ed, crank it.
All right.
Here is Ed the Wood, and he's going to sing with his wife Jennifer a song called Impossible Perfection.
Too much attention goes to the misperceived flaws. I see your beauty, where is mine? Hide.
The divine lives inside, and now I must confide. There is no place to hide impossible perfection.
Impossible perfection, looking outside for direction. Left me feeling lost and low, when love was my intention. I look everywhere and see visions that delight me. And it's been said before, comparisons, they're never pure, and
the lines, they tell the stories, the curves define my glories. The more I live, the more I know perfection.
Impossible perfection, looking outside for direction. Left me feeling lost and low, when love was my intention. Impossible perfection, it's all in our perception. So let's all change our story now, 'cause love's the true intention.
I take a vow to release my shame
and open up all my closed doors.
I will not hide my joy no more.
Their rules were never meant for me.
And when I sing about Lucy,
I feel my heart beat more.
every soul that's loved before.
Let's reframe this view for all to see.
The stars shine down on you and me,
Reflecting reflections,
oh, sweet.
impossible perfection. Looking outside for direction. Left me feeling lost and low. Love was my intention. Impossible perfection. It's all in our perception. So let's all change our story now, 'cause love's the true intention. 'Cause in our love I find perfection. In our love I find perfection.
Wow. Thank you so much. That is just an inspired song, I have to tell you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Can't listen to that enough. So those who are listening, you can listen to that too on myspace.com/soul-centered rockstar. Is that right, Craig? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Ed. Ed the word.
That is correct. That is correct. And also, the album's available on iTunes.
And
the word.
Ed the Word. So, yes, beautiful, beautiful. So this is off your album, Birth of the Divine Child.
Yes. Yes.
Now, you are officially unsigned at this moment.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm just basically doing it out of in my own little label that I'm establishing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you quite candidly, sir, you know, I love music and you know, you can take this. I know you've got your own your path and your little journey, but I just want to say that your music is, it's as good as anything out there, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate hearing that.
I see that we have a caller, so, and this was for Craig. Craig, you're still with us?
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed that, Ed. That was great. You guys did a wonderful job.
Thank you, Craig. I appreciate
you.
that.
So please stay with us. Ed is going. We're going to take a break in a couple minutes here. Ed's going to come back and we're going to sing one last song. But while we're doing that, both Craig and Ed and his wife Jennifer are live with us. But I do see that we have a caller, Trish from Niagara Falls, Canada, of all places.
Oh,
Hello.
good morning, Trish.
Good morning. I just wanted to tell you how much we really, really enjoy your blogs.
Oh, thank you so much. And I so appreciate you taking the time to read it. It really means a lot to me.
Yeah, and I get so much out of it.
Oh, thank you so much. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, so I thought I'd let you know that you've made an impact for sure, and I pass it on to at least 10 people a day.
That's great. Thank you
And
so
I
much.
keep everyone, and I know that you're thinking of putting them into a book, but I have everyone that, since I've started.
Mm-hmm.
And I go through them. There's times where I need to, if I'm not having a good day, that I need to look at some of them. So I thank you for that.
Oh, thank you for reading them. It's amazing. It's people from. I get emails from all different parts of the world. It's great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and we'll see you again when we come to California.
Oh, you bet.
Okay, you take care.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Trish.
You're welcome. Bye.
That's great.
All right.
Beautiful.
Yes,
That's
it's
beautiful.
all
So
parts-
combining. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Craig.
Oh, it's amazing. The different parts of the world that people are reading, and I'm totally honored and humbled by the countries. I just saw, on the blog spot, I can check different countries who are reading. And Iran, I just saw some people from Iran were reading it. Japan, Germany. The second biggest country reading my blog after the U.S. is, interestingly enough, the Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
Russia, there's people in Russia. There's Malaysia, Australia, my friends in Australia. I'm totally blown away by all this.
It's just making its way. It's almost like a message in a bottle effect, huh?
I think so. But I'm certainly honored and humbled by it all.
Yes, well, both of you have such unique talents, and that last song by Ed, the word was called Impossible Perfection, and I think, Craig, you had some thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, because it's synchronicity, I guess, in the world. I wrote about perfection this week as I saw one of these emails that I get from different Buddhist sites, and there was some course going to happen about creating a perfect world, and I go, wait a minute, of all people, the Buddhists should know, because they talk about impermanence all the time, that impermanence is in the fabric of everything that we do, and I don't know how you get perfection. It's very, as the song said, impossible perfection. But but at least make the moments work for you, and make it happen, and make your life just an incredible thing.
Yeah, when I wrote the song, I was thinking about all the aspects of myself that I sometimes try to hide in order to create this image of perfection, which is actually an impossible thing to do. And the song's a lot about accepting my own human nature and seeing it in other people through the eyes of love rather than scrutiny.
That's beautiful, Jennifer. Yeah. We're actually going to skip our break because I think we're kind of on a little bit of a roll here. So just continue the dialogue. So Ed, what did both you and your wife write this song? What was your primary inspiration?
Well, Jennifer had written this song, and she showed it to me. So I got together with her and just sort of like fine-tuned it a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so I got some input on some of the lyrics. But, I mean, truly the inspiration for me was to see Jennifer step into the role of fully expressing herself. And then as a husband and wife, for us to sing together, that's another, being married, that's another place where a lot of impossible perfections can kind of get floating around my mind, So singing together and singing this beautiful song that Jennifer wrote and seeing how people respond to that and feeling that just connection, because when people see us singing together, it brings really a lot of hope to people and shows them something that's possible in an intimate, marriage. So it's just been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That is just it's just so remarkable, to see that, because obviously in the entertainment business you don't see that very often. So I just want to tell you how much that touches me.
Yeah, thank you.
So the key phrase I wrote down was, "Let's change our story. Love's the intention." That's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think sometimes when there's conflict between people or assuming that the other's intention might be ill-willed, and if we take an approach to life where everyone's intention is to love and be loved, it creates for a much more peaceful way of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, both of you, Craig and you and Jennifer, both embody that, I think. And as Craig was saying, things happen in the world, things happen in our day. That's reality. We're not trying to, teach any kind of Pollyanna. We know life can be challenging. All we're saying is bring a breath of fresh air, refresh yourself. Doesn't have to stay in that kind of vibe. Get positive, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. My wife teaches me that every day. She's in the crazy business too. My wife Corey is just an amazing, talented production designer, and she has to deal with a lot of weird energy. So she just reminds me, keep it all real. Let's keep positive, and let's make the best of our world together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we did at the Freedom to Choose. At the prison, right, Greg? That's what it's about, freedom to choose our attitude. We can't choose what necessarily we're presented with, but we can choose our attitude. and the story that we tell about it.
It's so true, and I mention that every day at work because there's, just as Craig and you and Jennifer have challenges that come across the day, so do I, and so do many of my coworkers, and I'm always saying, reminding myself and reminding others. This is a tough moment, but we have a choice. We could take this really negative, or we can, find a way to make this a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And there's good in everything. Just have to stay focused on it. So thanks. All of this helps us all, stay in that beautiful peace and energy. So speaking of the Prison Project, you had the opportunity, and I would say the very rare opportunity, to get up on stage, and I actually had the pleasure of getting on stage with you, though not to play an instrument, but I was grateful to hold the microphone, quite frankly. So picture this, listeners. We're in this gymnasium. It's the end of the session. We've done some very deep inner healing work, and there's about 400 of us in this gym. It's hot, and Ed gets up and he sings a song, and in fact, you're going to sing that very song for us this morning, right?
Yes, correct.
And this song brought down the house. It was just so uplifting. So you want to just tell us a little bit about it, and then if you want to just launch right into it, we're ready.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I just call it the Gathering Song. It was written for me to really pass on to my son, to let him know the work that I've been doing through the University of Santa Monica, and just as a spiritual community, as a global spiritual community, what we're doing, during these times of great transition and transformation and all this stuff going on. So, so I call it the Gathering Song. It's another one of these simple songs that has come forward for me. So.
Gathered on houses and gathered on hills, gathered to find our own way. Gathered on beaches and gathered in fields, and our hearts always knew what to say. So we gathered as teachers and gathered as friends to figure out where we had been. We gathered each month for about 3 days, then next month we'll do it again. And we gathered in joy, gathered to let it all go. We gathered in spirit and called in the light to remember what we'll always know. No, no, no.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We're just about out of time here, but thank you so much, Ed and Jennifer. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
So you can reach Ed, the Word, at myspace.com/soul-centered rockstar. Is there any other way to get a hold of you, Ed?
Yeah, you can go to Facebook. There's an Ed the Word fan page. And then, of course, on iTunes, Ed the Word, Birth of the Divine Child is the name of the album.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then Craig Renwick, awesome. Thank you for your readings today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You can reach Craig at Craig Renwick. I'll spell it CraigRenwick.blogspot.com. He's also on Facebook. You're listening to Gregory Foster. Thank you for a wonderful show. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you again for being a part of Access Zen. please join your host, Gregory Foster, again next Thursday. We'll reconnect next week.